In this video, we are taking a look at my update 2022 governor predictions as of today, June 25th of 2022, as well as that this is the day post Roe v. Wade. So let's get right into today's video. And in today's prediction, we'll also see how Roe v. Wade might impact the 2022 general election. Starting with the safe Democratic states, California, New York, Massachusetts, Maryland, and the state of Hawaii should be considered safe for a Democratic Party as well. So for the Republicans, they will get Idaho, Wyoming, South Dakota, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama, and the state of Alaska. And I do also have South Carolina as a safe state for them, as well as that the states of Vermont and New Hampshire. So based on these safe characterizations, this is not much of a change compared to my last prediction. And going to the likely Democratic states, we have the states of Illinois, Rhode Island, and looking at this, Colorado. These states should not be super surprising. These states are generally more Democratic states. Some of those races could be closer given the national environment, but obviously they are still going to hold their Democratic status. Going to the likely Republican states, Kansas with Laura Kelly as the Democratic incumbent did win last election, but there were a lot of factors. Greg Orman split away about if he was not in this race, Kobach would have likely gotten 30,000 more votes. Kobach was a very bad candidate. It was a blue wave year, all that stuff. And in 2022, that will not be the case. In the state of Texas as well, I think will be likely for the GOP. It was likely, I believe, last election for Greg Abbott. I think it will be a slightly more narrow margin with Beto O'Rourke, but the national environment is not on the Democrat side. Going to the state of Florida, this is also a likely Republican race in my book. Ron DeSantis, although only won by 0.4 points, is sure to be much more popular this election cycle, as he potentially could be the Republican nominee for president in 2024 or 2028. Going to the state of Iowa, as well, this should be a likely race for the Republicans. Kim Reynolds only won by 3, but the state is trending Republican, and the national environment should help Kim Reynolds. Ohio with Mike DeWine, a lot of Republicans may not want to turn out for Mike DeWine, but given the national environment, again, I'm going to put it as likely for the GOP. So the final races here will be lean or tilt for either political party. Let's start with the races that I consider to be lean for the Democratic Party, as the Republicans are already at 25 seats. They only need one more seat to retain their majority. The first state to be in this lean Democratic characterization is the state of Oregon, with its governor having to retire after she served 2 terms, and in the state of Oregon, you can only consecutively serve 2 terms in the governorship, meaning 8 years. Kate Brown's not the most popular incumbent. The Democrats are in a pretty bad environment, but in the end, Democrats should be able to pick up, or I should say hold, the state of Oregon. As well as that, I do have Connecticut in the lead Democratic characterization. Ned Lamont is not the most popular governor. In a blue wave year in 2018, Ned Lamont only won by 3, so if his approval rating, if the national environment in 2018 was the national environment was what is expected to be the national environment in 2022, he would have lost. But this time around, his popularity has increased somewhat compared to his last election bid, and therefore it should help him win his re-election by about a similar margin as last time, maybe slightly higher. The final state that will be a lean state for the Democratic Party from till last time is Minnesota. With its population, I believe Roe v. Wade could have a slight impact in this governor's race and put it as a lean state for the Democratic Party. As well as that, Minnesota, many of the Minneapolis suburbs are too far gone for the Republican Party. In the Minneapolis, Hennepin County, Ramsey County, Anoka County, Washington County, and Dakota County. In the, of course, Minneapolis suburbs. Going to the lean Republican states, as these are the only 3 lean Democratic states. First up, the state of Arizona. Kayla a more pro-Trump Republican. That's not necessarily what sits the best with voters in Arizona, especially considering there are a lot of moderate voters that ended up costing Trump his election in the state of Arizona. That being said, the national environment is too bad for the Democratic Party to end up actually winning this race. I think that, of course, the Republican Carrie Lake is a pretty controversial candidate, but in the end, a lot of factors such as the oil prices, some of the inflation, they will be more in mind of the average American voter. That could be said the same for the state of Georgia. Brian Kemp has angered some Republicans. We saw in that primary that he did not anger as many Republicans as many of us may have expected him to, but still the national environment is heavily on the Republican Party's side, and therefore Kemp should be able to win re-election. The next state, and I believe final state, will be the state of Wisconsin. Wisconsin will be a lean state for the Republican Party, given that Tony Evers did not have the best margin against Scott Walker, and he only won by 1 point in the national environment. That was D+. It says D+3, but that's because some Democratic states, such as Washington, such as New Jersey, such as Delaware, did not hold elections, and most importantly, some of these safe red governors actually went for the Republican Party. So the actual general environment of that election was D+8, and in a D+8 environment, Tony Evers was only able to win by 1. Now for the final states that would be tilt for either party. I'm actually going to add Michigan to the lean Democratic column. I think Gretchen, maybe lean, maybe tilt, I'll put it as tilt, but Gretchen Whitmer, I think, will hold on to her election. Controversial in some of the lockdown stuff, but, the Republicans are in shackles in this race. They do not have good candidates. James Craig and several other candidates got disqualified from the ballot. And then the leading Republican got arrested for charges involving January the 6th, and that looks very bad for the Republican Party, so it's going to be tilt for the Democratic Party. Now for the first state, Nevada, I will have this as a tilt state for the Republican Party as well. I think Democrats have a great shot at winning this, but I think they'll come up just short given the national environment. I think Republicans will come up just short in the state of New Mexico. Now this is basically a pure toss-up, but given the Roe v. Wade decision, last time I put it as basically a pure toss-up. This time I'll put it as still Democratic, considering Roe v. Wade. I do put that as a slight extent to my characterization, and therefore this race will be tilt Democratic. Going to Pennsylvania, I do have this as a tilt Republican. Josh Shapiro was expected to overperform John Fetterman, but right now John Fetterman is doing better in the polls than Josh Shapiro. And do remember that the polls in Pennsylvania are not the most accurate polls among all the polls in the United States. So after that consideration, I do put this as tilt Republican. Meanwhile, in the state of Maine, Janet Mills, I do believe, will defeat Paula Page. Paula Page is a decent candidate, but Maine is still a decently blue state. It should still go Democratic. This ends this map at 20 for the Democrats and 30 for the Republicans. Thanks for watching today's video. Give a like, give a subscription. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day, and bye.